We've asked him several times about those late game timeouts. They're pretty unconventional. He's unapologetic about them.
That's what he do, man. That's what he do. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not the coach, so I think he's told me he likes working on things that we do in practice and things like that. So, yeah, coach, he can call a timeout if he wants to.
That was Zach LaVine, as puzzled as the rest of us by Jim Boylen's continued inexplicable timeouts. This hour of the show is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Visit their new website, 56david.com. That's 56david.com. Julie DiCaro, Maggie Hendricks taking you right up until Bulls gets underway with pregame at 5:45. All right, so if you were watching the Cubs last night on Marquee, you might have missed it. But there was, 30 seconds left?
10 seconds
10
left.
10 seconds left. Bulls were down by 12?
10.
12?
They were down by 10. Yeah.
Jim Boylen calls a timeout, which is something that he's done multiple times this year.
It's pissed off opposing coaches. It's pissed off the announcer of the Raptors because he did it on Super Bowl Sunday, and the guy was like, we all have Super Bowl parties to get to, man. Come on.
I don't understand it, and I guess his thing is finish up strong, but it just seems like such a dumb thing to do.
Here's what it feels like to me. It feels like an inexperienced coach not treating his players like professionals and not saying, you know what, and not understanding what is a teachable moment and what isn't a teachable moment. Because with 10 seconds left, when your guys are pissed that you called this timeout and they need to recover and they need to get through this game so that they maybe can be healthy enough to play the game that's happening tonight, you're calling a timeout. And so instead of bringing up whatever that situation was in a film room or in a next practice, you're saying, oh, we got to talk about it right now. And that, to me, that just reeks of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
And so it's the second time that Zach LaVine has been caught on camera reacting to Jim Boylen calling a timeout with just a few seconds left. He came out today and he basically said that, I don't want to lose. I don't like losing. We had a 17-point lead. I thought we played our heart out shorthanded and we battled. Look, I mean, he's also talking about all the times that they've had big comeback wins, which I don't remember.
There was one game against the Hornets. That's it.
I don't remember that. I remember all the losses. I remember all the fourth quarter lead losses.
They were leading going into the second half last night. Kobe White had 33 points, his season and at this point career high. They were playing very well against the Suns through three quarters. And I think they even had a 2-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And still, they lost the game. And he still called one of these stupid timeouts. And it just reeks of like not getting it. And just everything about him is not getting it. So today he's talking about how he just wants to show he's going to play to the end.
So this is Jim Boylen talking about why he does this.
It seems like the front office at the beginning of the year gave you, and you referred to it as marching orders, to coach these guys to the end, to develop these guys to the end, the young guys, whoever's out there. Have they come back to you and said, hey, if we're down 10, 5 seconds left, you don't need to call a timeout, or if they just said you continue the marching orders?
I talked to John this morning. We talk every day. He's on the road right now. Going to coach these guys hard, John. Can keep doing what you're doing. It's what we have to do.
Not really.
You don't.
You don't have to do it.
I think, is there an opportunity or a chance where maybe I'm over competitive in those situations, Joe? I think I have to own that. If you build it, they will come, Joe. Seen that movie? He's in the movie, Joe?
I've seen it.
Look.
Over competitive, Julie. Now, he's not competitive when he pulls players and does these weirdo substitutions. Like last night, after Shaquille Harrison was playing great, pulls him.
Be competitive in the first 47 minutes of the game.
And if you're losing, realize that it's a long season and your guys are playing back-to-backs.
So our beloved Tony Gill tweeted out that Boylen admitted it's part defiance on his part, acknowledged it may rub people the wrong way, but said it's okay if they feel that way. You know what this is? This is when you're sitting at a meeting and you're dying to get out of there, and every time they say, does anyone have any questions, the same person keeps raising their hand, and so you can't, and their questions are always just about them. It's never about anyone else either.
Right. They are questions that could be answered after the entire group is dismissed and allowed to go get lunch.
But you all have to sit there. That is what Jim Boylen is to the NBA. He is the guy who waits until the very final minutes of a meeting to start asking all his personal questions.
Yeah. That's and also tries to pose the questions in a way that like makes it seem like it's for everybody, but it's not. Oh my gosh. Like last night, it was so funny. My husband went to bed and I was like, I want to watch the end of this Bulls game. So I watched the end of this Bulls game, and by the end of it, I was so wound up and angry, and I was like, I'm really glad I get to talk about this on the air tomorrow because quite frankly, sometimes being on the air is sports therapy for Julie and I. So we got a little bit of that. I had a lot of that yesterday because I was so angry because it just is so unprofessional. It's so. He always talks about he's like, BFF with Greg Popovich, and he learned from Greg Popovich. Pop doesn't do that kind of Mickey Mouse stuff.
773 texter says Perkins, meaning Kendrick Perkins, made a great statement this morning on Mully and Haw.
Probably yesterday, man.
Yes.
Or 2 days ago.
2 days ago. When you coach like Boylen is doing, the coach is making it about himself and not about actually coaching the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And 708 texter says, if Pax actually told Boylen to keep doing what he's doing, then he should be fired today. Righto, friend. You are 100%, like, I'm on that track with you.
I mean, here's the thing. If you are, I think at one point today, Jim Boylen talked about a play that they'd been working on in practice and they wanted to try it in a game situation. I understand that. But do you really think that when you're down by 10 with 10 seconds left, the other team is going to defend it the way they're going to defend it normally in a game?
Exactly. And so what a professional coach would do is say to one of their assistants, hey, I want to talk about A, B, and C that went wrong in that play that we need to cover and film tomorrow. Because when the players are so mad that you called this stupid timeout, they're not listening to you anyway. So how is this development?
And not only that, when you're getting beaten by a team, how long do you want to stay out there on the court in front of their fans? You know what I mean? I would think if I'm losing, especially if we had a lead before that and we blew it, I just want to get on the bus and get out of there. I don't want to just stand out there in front of people watching us lose. Like, why would you prolong that?
And also then then you're also doing that for your players. That's exactly it. It's not about, it doesn't seem like he's making it about his players. It feels like he is saying like, I'm just the smartest guy in the room and I'll have the best job. And that's just the way it's going to be. It just is.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And I mean, I don't really want to go back to like redoing all the All-Star game stuff, but I mean, it was so, I guess, bittersweet. It's not really the right word, but there was such a dichotomy of feeling watching the beginning of the All-Star game and watching them talk about Chicago and all the great guys that had come out of Chicago, all the great players that had come out of Chicago, and then have no one playing in the All-Star game.
Right. I mean, honestly, the All-Star game, I had chills. I had tears. It was like I very much emotionally reacted throughout that game. And part of the reason why is because I was very proud to be a Chicagoan and to be a Chicagoan who got to see a lot of these players when they were coming up and who tried to go see Kevin Garnett when he was playing in high school here, but couldn't even get down Wolf Road to get to the Proviso West tournament. Like I was very proud, but also ashamed because the professional team that I have cheered on, that honestly, that was the professional team that made me fall in love with basketball. Now I can't, I'm mortified by them. I am embarrassed. I have a really cute Bulls shirt that my sister gave me for Christmas last year. I don't wear it because I don't even want to have the conversation about the Bulls. That's not great.
I mean, we're trying to have a conversation about the Bulls right now, and I'm just sitting. I've gone past enraged, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Right.
I just I mean, I listen to the games. I watch the games. It's part of my job. Do I want them to be better? Yes. Do I love Chuck Swirsky? Yes. Do I, love still the United Center and the atmosphere around the games? Yes. Do I love the Bulls right now? No.
Right. And honestly, there are times when I think, the Bucks aren't that far away. And honestly, like I am very much a person that win or lose, my team is my team. I mean, and I'm a Cubs fan and a Missouri Tigers fan. I've watched a lot of losing. A Bulls fan, Bears fan, all of that. I've watched a lot of losing and stuck with my teams. But honestly, it's about more than just winning and losing with the Bulls. It's about having management that doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, I agree. And that's sort of the text line is echoing all of that. Like, it's just like, why doesn't anyone care about this? Mm-hmm. With the exception of the 815 texter who wants to know if a hot dog's a sandwich. Where do you fall on that? I do not think it is because a bun doesn't open the same way sandwiches have two pieces of bread. I think the hinge makes it not a sandwich. Yeah. The hinge on the bun. And I also think the meat cannot be round in a sandwich. Oh. I think the meat has to be flat. Oh. Or at least...
I find
at least it has a plane.
So that you can it's easier to put other toppings on. I think that is an interesting point on it, Julie.
Thank you.
I've never thought of that.
I can't believe it took us till 2020 to get around to this on the show.
I know. And also like that, I mean, we've done this now we're on year 3, right? And so, yeah. And we just finally had this discussion.
I mean, I always went to the hinge, but it was just now that occurred to me. I really think it's the roundness of the hot dog that is the problem.
Yeah.
And which is probably part of the reason Charles Barkley had such a difficult time with it.
Right.
That pregame show.
That was the weirdest thing in the pregame show was making sure was Charles Barkley could not eat the thing correctly. And,
no.
Yeah.
By the way, that whole pregame show was so weird, that steam room thing that was happening.
I know. Yeah. And not like the one that had like common wrapping and everything. It was it was almost like hey, these are things going in Chicago, but weirdly.
Yeah. And everyone came out of a room with a lot of smoke in the back because that was supposed to be the steam room.
Yeah. I didn't really understand.
And it was sort of part commercial, part pregame show. I didn't understand what was happening.
And I mean, part of it is that we can't actually hear it because we're in the studio, but still, it was just, the whole thing was weird. But the All-Star, I do think that All-Star game and the dunk, all of it, that whole All-Star weekend, I think I'm always proud to be a Chicagoan, but I was like I was walking around with some civic pride that weekend.
Zach kind of bad in the 3-point contest, though.
Yeah, but I honestly, all I'm cheering, like in the 3-point contest, what I didn't want was for somebody to break 29 because Allie Quigley of the Chicago Sky owns that record.
Yeah.
And I didn't want Allie's record to get broken.
Well, you know what it was? It sort of sums up Zach LaVine, right? Like, I want to be in the All-Star game and in the slam dunk contest and in the 3-point contest. And then he comes out 3-point contest, just kind of lays an egg. I mean, that's sort of like Zach LaVine. Like, I want to be the best guy in this team. I want to be an NBA All-Star. And then just,
right.
I know he wants a lot of things.
Right.
All right, before we go to break, let's go out to John in Rolling Meadows. Hey, John.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. What's up?
I've played a lot of ball. I don't think I've ever played for a coach that's as belligerent as this guy is. He stands up in front of you guys after a game, and he acts like he doesn't have to explain anything he does because it's for the good of the team and the players. It'd be one thing if you had won a couple of championships or something like Jackson, and maybe you could be a little belligerent, people would deal with it. But when you haven't done anything except lose, and you pull dumb moves, as far as substitutions go, and then you're belligerent to the media after the game about it, get real. If I were Paxson, I would take him off to the side and go, that belligerent crap's got to go. You cannot deal with the media like that anymore. I won't have it.
Thanks for the call, John. Appreciate it.
Preach.
One more call before break. This is Jordan in Indiana. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. What's up?
Hey, you know what? I was at the Buffalo Wild Wings last night watching the fight. Well, before the fight came on, he had all the undercards and all of that. And I found telling was, in that particular Buffalo Wild Wings, there probably was 40 TVs in there. Not one of them had the Bulls game on. You had the undercard fights. You had golf was playing. You had the Bucks was playing, but not one TV had the Bulls game on. So that just shows you the apathy and how much people don't care. It's a sports bar. And not one TV has it on. I just found that telling, and it shows you what the state of the Bulls really are.
Yikes. Thanks for the call, Jordan. Appreciate it. That's not great.
No, and usually when I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings, which is too often, if you ask for them to put something on at least one TV, I got them to put on wrestling, like college wrestling, during the NCAA March Madness. So, like, they will put something on if you ask for it, which means nobody was asking for it.
That was my first thought. Yeah. Nobody asked them to put on the Bulls game. Hey, great point about the hot dog being a sandwich. 630 Texter says, if anything, it's a taco.
Oh. Wow.
Mind blown.
Yes, mind completely blown. That is really true.
I see Chris Dickens back there, who is our chef, who seems to say, slow it down, folks. Slow it down.
I mean,
a hot dog is its own entity.
I feel like we've never talked about this topic before, and after like 5 years after it's a thing, we talk about it, and we still manage to elevate the discourse to a previously unseen level.
That's the Julie and Maggie show for you.
That's why we have astrophysicists listening to the show, people. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, final break of the show, it is time for, what do we call it? Postgame?
The postgame.
The postgame.
Yeah, we have to say it with a cool voice.
Yeah, we need like a drop for that, you guys. We need like echoes, like postgame, aim. Kind of thing. Okay, they're not even listening to me. This is the show. This is the part of the show where we talk about what we're binging, what we're watching. We want to hear from you guys. What books are you reading? Podcasts do you have going on? We want to hear all of it so we can recommend what you guys need to watch in the week ahead. We will do that when we come back. Julie and Maggie on The Score.
My God, the postgame can't be that long. Please. Cannot have an hour and a half postgames.
It is time for the postgame. It's the show we do here on, it's not the show, it's the part of the show we do on the Julie and Maggie show, where we talk about pop culture. What are you watching? What movies have you seen? What are you binging? What podcasts do you have? Do you have good books? By the way, I said this last week. Someone mentioned the book Word Blank for us to buy. And I'm telling you, this book has changed my life.
It's my next book I'm going to read.
Also, I'm lecturing everyone about it.
I can't picture that at all.
People are like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, actually, that word derives from blah, blah, blah. It's so interesting. I can't recommend it enough. If you don't know what the name of the book is, because I don't know if we can say it on the air.
And we keep forgetting to ask.
Well, I texted it out I tweeted it out last week, so I'll tweet it out again. I'm really sorry that we opened the Pandora's box of the hot dog sandwiches, because now the text line is just full of people going, well, what about a beef sandwich at Portillo's? Is that not a hot dog? That has a hinge.
You know what? A hot dog's whatever, or a sandwich is whatever is a sandwich in your heart. How about that?
The real sandwich is the friends we made along the way.
That's right.
Okay.
What else did you binge anything this week?
I finished The Last Tsars.
Okay.
Which was very good on Netflix. If you're a history buff, if you are into the Romanovs, you'll definitely like it.
It is quite enjoyable.
It's very enjoyable. The history behind it is pretty good too. Sometimes you watch a history show and you're like, okay, but that's not really true because we know that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, but what about this thing that we just found out, or whatever. But this is very up to date, very like the history is very good behind it. So I like that a lot. Homeland is back. Now look, I know a lot of people dropped out on Homeland a long time ago.
I dropped out on Homeland because I felt like it wasn't I wasn't enjoying it enough to continue my Showtime subscription.
It definitely got to a point where I was like, why am I still watching this? But I hung in there, and let me tell you, I'm glad I did, because it's come back around. And if you can get past the fact that Carrie Matheson still keeps her top secret clearance, even though she keeps doing all these things that she shouldn't be doing.
I think that's also part of my thing. It's like Carrie,
it's like, how does she still have this job?
Right.
Yeah, if you can get past that, there's a lot of good stuff happening, and this is the final season. So I enjoyed that very much.
All right.
How about you?
Okay, so first of all, I watched Spider-Man Far From Home this week. So I'm now all caught up on the Marvel comic universe, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, is that it for you?
I'm pretty sure I'm all caught up now. I think I've seen everything. This has been quite a journey,
Such a
guys.
long time coming.
I know, and it was enjoyable. I think I still like the other Spider-Man, the Homecoming. I liked a little better.
Me too.
But I absolutely enjoyed it. I also watched High Fidelity on Hulu, the new thing. When I first, the first couple episodes felt like a shot-for-shot remake of the John Cusack version of the movie, which kind of felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel like there was a reason for why they redid the show. But then as it went on, I really started enjoying it a lot more. Zoe Kravitz's character is like just a fun anti-hero to watch and to root for. And the supporting characters are really interesting too. So I recommend High Fidelity on Hulu.
I cannot watch, and let me tell you why. For a while, John Cusack was following me on Twitter and would retweet things that I said about the Cubs. And then I was making fun of Katie Tur on MSNBC because she got blocked by John Cusack. And while I was in the process of making fun of her, I realized that John Cusack is not following me anymore.
I'm so sad for you.
I'm so heartbroken.
But
John, what are you doing? Come back.
I will tell you that John Cusack is not involved in, like, there are certain little allusions back to the movie and like certain songs and stuff. But,
I know, it's just going to make me think about it.
All right. I will tell you, I saw John Cusack one night at Publican and his hair frightened me. So
now he's really not going to follow me.
No, sorry. That was Maggie, not Julie. You already don't follow
John!
me.
Okay. I'm going to be outside his house with a boombox, trying to get him to come back. Mike Chen, what have you watched this week?
I got a chance to see The Pharmacist. You recommended
Yes.
it on Netflix. It is absolutely awesome.
Bonkers, right?
Yeah, the story takes, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but the story takes an odd turn when you think at first it's like murder mystery, and then it's like, wait, this is way bigger than a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And so, in conclusion, down with Big Pharma.
Wait until you get to The Keepers. It is going to blow your mind.
That is next. So, yeah.
Oh, sure it is.
Mine will be blown.
So 630 texter is saying, I just finished viewing the tremendously great Breaking Bad series marathon plus El Camino. Can't believe I did not see it before now. Don't forget, I believe it's either tonight or tomorrow night, Better Call Saul comes back, and I'm excited. That's the other thing I binged was the last season of Better Call Saul to get ready for the new season that I think it's either tonight or tomorrow night. But that show is so good. And it's so like kind of under the radar. It's not like in your face how good it is. It is just a really well done television show.
Fun fact about me, my friend Dave wrote El Camino.
All right.
Yeah. Bottom of the hour was brought to you by the Chicago Wolves. The Fan 4-pack is a great way to enjoy Chicago Wolves hockey. It's 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 1 large popcorn, and 1 low price. To get yours, visit ChicagoWolves.com. This segment is brought to you by Illini Care Health. You deserve quality health care. Choose Illini Care Health for health care coverage that includes free gym memberships, after-school care, and school uniforms that either you or your family can take advantage of. Visit IlliniCare.com today. Illini Care Health is a Health Choice Illinois plan. So people on the text line asking, what Netflix show we were talking about. It was The Last Czars. So I should read the list of stuff I have going on in my Netflix queue that I've lined up that I haven't watched yet.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I got caught up last week in the finale of 90 Day Fiancé. And I think it starts again tonight. Look, I don't watch reality shows except this one.
I know. I love what I love is for the most part, I can say exactly what I know Julie will like. I can watch Netflix. I can go through Netflix and be like, Julie will like this and this and this. And then there is the random bit of 90 Day Fiancé that just confounds me.
Because they're such a train wreck, every single one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I watched The Real Housewives of New Jersey.
It's just you can't look away.
Yeah. I get it.
All right, let's go take a call from Ken in Northbrook. Hey, Ken.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up?
Listen, I've got a book recommendation for you ladies.
Okay.
How are you on fiction, historical fiction?
Oh, I love historical fiction.
Okay. I promise you, you will love this book if you haven't already read it. It's called News of the World. The name of the author is Paulette Giles.
Okay, I've got it in front of me.
Okay? You will love this book. I read this book. Everyone that I have recommended this book to has absolutely loved it. It's not a big book. It's a fairly short book, and it takes place after the Civil War in Texas. And I'm reading the book, and I went online for some reason, and I found out that Tom Hanks has bought the movie rights to this book. He's going to play the central character, and they're making the movie right now. I cannot wait to see the movie. I promise you, if you can find this book, News of the World, you will love it.
Okay, I got it up right in front of me. Thanks for the call, Ken. Appreciate it.
I have added it to my Goodreads.
So, News of the World is by Paulette Giles. It is a National Book Award finalist. It's available Kindle, audiobook, hardcover, everything from Amazon. So there you go. And I also, another one that someone recommended that I just downloaded is Ann Patchett's The Dutch House, which people have sort of been oohing and eyeing over.
I know there's
on
other
social media.
There's other Ann Patchett books that I've liked. Right now, I am reading. It's a YA book, but it's basically imagine if George Washington had said, "Yes, I do want to be king. I don't want to be a president." And so it's like looking at a modern day, and the U.S. is about to have a queen for the first time because they had changed the laws and all of this stuff. And it's really, really interesting and kind of is like makes you have to think, like reframe your thoughts a little bit when all of American history is completely different because we have a monarchy here and not.
Did you watch the Washington documentary on History Channel?
No, I did not.
It was really good, and it was the first time. So someone the other day had this program, and I can't remember what it's called. It would be like proportion.ly, or something like that. But it shows you the percentage of men and women that you follow. And it was, we always retweet the idea that like men retweet other men way more than they retweet women. Mm-hmm. I'm only following 38% women on social media, on Twitter. And it got me thinking about the Washington documentary because I was like, wow, this is like, there's just, are they only interviewing women for this? Is that all they're doing? And I went back and watched it again. No, of course there's tons of men in there too, but I'm not used to seeing that many women being part of the, they cut away to the historians who tell you the facts. Right. And I'm not used to seeing 3, 4, 5 different women in there. There's usually one woman and like 3 guys.
And it's usually Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Right. So it was really interesting. And also on my birthday was that Black Patriots episode or special on History Channel, which was also really, really good. And I highly recommend people following it. So
for Black History Month, one of my favorite rewatches, and if you happen to see it come up on PBS or any of the PBS stations, there's it's Many Rivers to Cross.
Oh, I was going to say Eyes on the Prize.
I also like Eyes on the Prize. Many Rivers to Cross is like, it's a big Henry Louis Gates documentary special about African-American history in this country. And I'll be honest, there was so much I did not know and so much I had to go back and learn about because quite frankly, it's not something that's taught in schools.
Right.
So remember that Black History Month is a great time for you to learn about the history that you didn't learn in schools and there are some really, really good specials out there. And honestly, anything involving Henry Louis Gates is going to be well-researched, well thought out, and just an enjoyable watch.
Hilariously, he in Watchmen, he was the person who they put in charge of reparations. In the Watchmen.
Really?
Yeah. And he's actually in it. Like you go into this thing, you put your DNA in, it tells you if you're eligible for reparations. And Henry Louis Gates is the guy sort of walking you through it. He's like, hello, I'm Secretary of the Interior, Henry Louis Gates. And he's like,
I love that.
It was amazing. I mean, Watchmen had all kinds of great little touches like that in it. So that was really cool. 815 Texter says, if you haven't watched Fargo series, you should, especially the first season. That is one I've had in my Netflix queue or wherever it is forever.
It's my one I should watch. Reprisal on Hulu gets a vote from an 815 Texter too.
What is the other one that I was just going to say something else. Oh, Hunters is out, I believe. The Amazon Prime special or the show with Al Pacino, and it's based on a true story, and it's Americans hunting Nazis. And Nazi Fugitives is one of my favorite TV shows because there's nothing I like better than watching people track down Nazis. So I'm going to be very into that.
So when the show Glee was on, and it was like in the early seasons of Glee, the character played by Jane, why am I forgetting
Lynch.
her? Yes, Jane Lynch. Carol Burnett played her mother on the show, and there was a whole joke that her mother was a Nazi hunter. And this was like, I don't know, 2011, 12. And this is like the whole joke. It's a Nazi hunter. And she's like, this is why you're not spending time with me. You're hunting Nazis that don't exist anymore. Little did we know.
So there's the next book I want to write is about a woman named Beate Klarsfeld, who was a Parisian housewife. Her dad was a Nazi. She married a Jewish guy, and she was a Parisian housewife. She would and then she'd hear that we found Mengele in Brazil, and she'd take off. She'd get on a plane with her husband. They'd go there. They'd spend all these months tracking down Mengele, and then eventually, Mengele gets caught or he's dead or whatever, and then she just gets on her plane and goes back to Paris, and she's back to vacuuming and picking up after the kids. I mean, she was such an incredible badass. Her name is Beata Klarsfeld. If there's any books out there or anything about her, please let me know because I'm fascinated with her.
All right,
that's it for us. We will be back next week. Big thank you to Luis Medina and Arthur Arkush for joining us today. Big thank you to our producer, Mike Chen, who's the best. And you should follow him on Twitter.
He's very great.
What is it now? The Mike Chen?
No, it's Mike F. Chen.
Mike F. Chen. Whatever.
We're not going to tell you what
Chen.
We're not going to tell you what the F stands for.
Thanks to everyone who tweeted, texted, called in. We appreciate you guys. We will see you next week here on the Julia Maggie Show. Bulls pregame with David Schuster coming up next here on The Score.
Please, can I finish? All right, I finished.